Well, keep heading west or look back to the east. That's the choice facing voters in Moldova on Sunday as people head to the polls for parliamentary elections. President Maia Sandu's PAS party wants Moldova to join the European Union and move away from Russian influence. But the Patriotic Bloc, a group of pro-Russian parties, could upset those plans. A strong showing would weaken the ruling party in parliament and force a coalition government. That could scupper Moldova's bid to join the European Union. Moldova is sandwiched between Ukraine and Romania. Its location makes it a frontline for the geopolitical battle of influence between Russia and the West. DW's Rosie Burchard is in Moldova and she sent us this report on the mood on the eve of elections.
It's been called the most consequential election in Moldova's history. And at this last rally organised by the ruling pro-European PAS party, the fear is palpable that Moldova finds itself back under Russia's thumb.
It would be a disastrous scenario if we would get pulled into this.
If pro-Russian wins, I have some thoughts to leave Moldova.
The governing PAS party faces competition from a Moscow-friendly political alliance, plus smaller political blocs with mixed messages. And it's clear some voters at the central market in Moldova's capital, Chisinau, aren't convinced by the government's pro-Western vision, with high prices and energy costs leaving many frustrated.
The European Union or the Soviet Union, it's the same empire. Things need to change because we are going nowhere.
We're still thinking about who to vote for. Because nothing has changed in Moldova lately. For 30 years we've been choosing one party, then another, and then that. But little in life changes.
But there are also more undemocratic forces at play. Police here have uncovered foreign schemes to train Moldovans on stirring up political violence, and election monitors have found evidence of covert cash payment offers to spread anti-government content online.
Here we have an example of a bot network. You can see that they are propagating the same sentence.
Which says?
Which are saying that PAS is going to bring us poverty, the fact that we are going to enter in the European Union equals the fact that they're going to bring the war in Moldova.
Moscow denies involvement in election meddling, but Anna tells us the evidence is clear.
Starting to investigate a little bit how the network is looking, we can see most of them are operated from Russia, operated from Belarus.
With a pro-Russian breakaway region on Moldovan territory, keeping voting access fair across this country of 2.4 million is no mean feat.
In the bid to crack down on election interference, Moldovan authorities have taken last-minute decisions to relocate some polling stations due to security concerns and to ban 2 political parties from participating over suspected illegal financing.
And that's controversial, with critics warning it's restricting voters' rights. We put that to the government's top spokesperson.
We are committed to be open, to be transparent. Observers are all around. We are in talks with them. We are explaining, and we shall be talking about the real story here. And the real story is how the Moldovan people are defending their right for freedom and for democracy.
For now, Moldova remains on a path toward joining the European Union. But when polls close on Sunday, they'll kick off a count that could decide whether Moldova stays west or changes direction.
Our correspondent Rosie Burchard is in Moldova and joins us now. Rosie, it's being said that Moldova is really at a crossroads. What's the atmosphere like on the street there in Chisinau?
Tense, anxious. Saturday, it was a so-called day of silence here. It's when politicians have to officially stop campaigning right before the elections. So there's almost a sense that the whole country is sort of holding its breath. One thing that really stayed with me is when we arrived here, we met a 34-year-old man. 34 years is how long Moldova has been an independent country. And he said he was worried that the progress of his whole life was about to disappear if pro-Russian forces were to be elected and to gain a majority in the Moldovan parliament. And of course, there are plenty of people on the other side of the debate who are waiting anxiously to see if the government, the current pro-Western government in power, is kicked out, which is what many people in this country would like to see. It is simply a divided nation. And of course, what's important here is that it's not just Chisinau which is holding its breath. There are capitals across Europe looking on to, because this election has an outsized influence on where Europe stands in this so-called battle of narratives between East and West. And there's a real sense that Europe simply can't afford to lose Moldova.
We spoke of some people there, but this question of joining the EU or moving back under Moscow's influence, is that what really matters to voters?
Definitely geopolitics matters more to your average Moldovan than it might in other countries. Just look where the country is on a map, sandwiched between Ukraine on the one side and Romania on the other side, Romania being an EU and NATO members. But it should be noted that really it's also the key bread and butter issues, the economy, inflation. Moldova is one of the poorest countries in Europe. But of course, those two things kind of go hand in hand, right? Because the war next door, right next door in Ukraine, is having a fallout, an impact on the Moldovan economy. And we see both sides here, so the pro-Western side and the pro-Russian side, arguing that if the other gets into power, that a war becomes more likely. Now, according to polling, the current pro-Western, pro-European PAS party is likely to remain the biggest party, but could lose its majority. And so one of the big questions will be, where will those pro-European votes that are not in favour of the current ruling party, those that feel frustrated with the situation, particularly when it comes to economy, for example, inflation, energy prices, where will those pro-European votes go? And will PAS, the current ruling party, be able to make a coalition? What we can say is that if they are weakened in any way, it will likely make it more difficult for some of these big reforms that Moldova has to take in order to be eligible to join the European Union, could become more difficult to undertake. But I spend a lot of time reporting also on the European Union in Brussels, and I can tell you that there is some homework to be done on the Brussels side as well to make sure that the European Union is actually ready to expand, so there's not a sense of false promises to those who put their faith in a path toward joining the European Union.
Very, very tense time there indeed. DW's Rosie Burchard reporting from the Moldovan capital, Chisinau. Thank you very much.